Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. So we're on episode 9.5 of Skate the Infinity, Crazy Rock Jam. And I remember when this episode originally came out because there was a lot of people mad on Twitter. They were like, we just had episode 9 and now this. And at the time, I had no clue what the big fuss was about. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. I get it now. I'm like, oh, because they left episode 9 on such a cliffhanger. And then they decided to do a recap episode before going into episode 10. Strange. Usually the recaps are like mid-season, not 3/4 of the way through the season. However, I am excited about this episode for two reasons. One, because from the previews it looks like it's going to be hosted by Miya and Shadow. And I noted in last week's reaction with episode 9 that Miya and Shadow were the only two characters so far in the plot that have really been unscathed. Now, that could change, but for now I was like, okay, well, Shadow and Miya are kind of in the best place out of all of our protagonists. Like Reki, Longa, Joe, Cherry, even Adam and Tadashi, they're all in a pretty bad space. So if anybody's going to recap this, it's going to be Miya and Shadow. And I think it would be interesting to do it from their perspective, to kind of be like the flies on the wall looking in at our three prospective couples in this show. But the other reason is, I was thinking about this, if we're doing a season series recap at episode 9, which again, last reaction I talked about being kind of the end of Act 2, is it setting up for like the next 3 episodes to just be off the wall bonkers? I want them to be off the wall bonkers. I really do. So that has me excited. But I had to give a shout out to Woo and Ray on Patreon because with episode 9 they had the comments of unrequited love. Ray was like, everything's unrequited in episode 9. Reki and Longa, unrequited love. Neither side's talking. Cherry, unrequited love to Adam. Joe, unrequited love to Cherry that is still causing him to have feelings to this day. And then Tadashi, unrequited love to Adam. Adam can't find his unrequited love, even though it's right in front of him. It's like Oprah. You get unrequited love, and you get unrequited love, and everybody's not happy. So, oh my gosh, ever since episode 7, this show has been off the rails, and I am here for it. I've been doing like hour-long discussions out of this thing, but I don't know what to expect with this recap. Usually, I don't like recap episodes. I really don't. With the series Free, I was really hesitant to watch a couple of the movies because I heard they were going to be like recaps. And I was pleasantly surprised. With that series, the recap episodes had a lot of new content and stuff that carried on into the story later on. I was pleasantly surprised. But I've watched other series where the recap episode is really bad. I think probably the most notoriously bad one I've ever watched is with Hunter x Hunter. Like the Aunt May letters, or whatever the aunt's name is, the letters to her, those recap episodes, atrocious. I'm throwing shade, but they're awful. So I'm hoping this isn't quite like that. The fact that Miya and Shadow are narrating, maybe us seeing things from their perspective, I'm hoping that is what this is, and we get a little bit, at least if we see the same thing, we get a new perspective on it, a new point of view, and that may help me and all of us to understand kind of like Miya and Shadow's perspective, because they are kind of like the odd men out, right? But yeah, I'm hoping it's more along those lines, and maybe if it does have some new material, that would be awesome. So I don't know what to expect, y'all, but I love this series, so I'm going into this episode with just as much excitement and just as much anticipation as I would be any other episode. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm really looking forward to episode 10. So, in any case, I hope you all enjoy this, and we're going to start Crazy Rock Jam here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Oh, guys. Not needing words. Ooh, okay. Okay. Ooh, buddy. Okay. So I don't think I'll have an hour-long discussion for this recap because it's a recap. But there are some interesting things, interesting choices here So with that preview and the ending statement with Shadow, it sounds like Adam's going to go up against Shadow. So basically we had in our tournament Harry versus Shadow, and Shadow won. And then we had Longa versus Joe, and Longa won. And then we had Adam versus Cherry, and Adam won. So we got our top three of our four semifinalists. And then that leaves Tadashi and Miya. Now, we haven't seen Tadashi versus Miya, but I'm going to say Tadashi's going to win because that's a big plot point, is that Adam's going to face Tadashi. So, based on what Shadow said, this episode, though, it's leading us to believe it's going to be Shadow versus Adam, which would mean Tadashi versus Longa, which is very interesting. Because I thought it was going to be like Longa versus Shadow, and Longa was going to win, and then Adam versus Tadashi, and Adam was going to beat Tadashi maybe, and then face up against Longa at the end. That's what I thought was going to happen. So I'm assuming that Longa's going to beat Tadashi. I'm assuming that's what's going to happen. But that kind of, how does that factor in to Tadashi saying that he was going to beat Adam to get him to stop skating? How does that factor in? So, I know you guys already know because you've watched the show, but that makes it very curious because Tadashi's whole mission is going to get derailed, no pun intended, if Longa beats him. But if he beats Longa, then Adam's whole thing is going to get derailed because he wanted to face Snow again in an official match. So what? What then? How be this going down? I'm so curious. I am so curious. Very curious indeed. That was really cute overall. I liked Miya and Shadow being the voices, and it taking place during the hospital is pretty fun. Obviously, some of the parts where Carla recorded the Longa and Reki scenes where they were by themselves is, it's a recap, so recap logic. But I thought that what they showed us in the recap was an interesting decision. Like, they showed us a lot of Adam, and the montage of Adam made a lot of sense because we have to build him up as our antagonist for the recap. They showed us a recap of the beach episode, a little bit with it, and they showed us recaps of everybody skateboarding and did that. But then most of this recap was the beginning with Reki and Longa, of them just building up their friendship. And I'm really glad that they decided to not I'm glad they decided to not spoil us and make us feel sadder with not spoil us, but I'm glad they decided not to crush us all over again with episodes 7 and 8. Good deal. But I'll be honest, it hurts seeing Reki happy because I was like, man, those were good days. Let's go back to those. So I'm curious if they showed it to us, those happier moments, to kind of build up, okay, here's the relationship that we started with. This is what we built up. Y'all know what went down episode 7. Y'all know how the last 2 episodes have been. We need to get back to this happiness. And in the preview, them showing all the locations where Longa and Reki have hung out, that really has me hopeful that maybe next episode we reconcile. Next episode we get back together. Fingers crossed. Fingers really crossed, because episodes 8 and 9 have been wonderful, but Reki, seeing this recap has made me really miss Reki. Happy, carefree, inventor Reki. Like, I really miss him, and I want him to be back. And Longa still has his broken board. And Longa can't face Tadashi without a board. So something has to happen this coming episode. I just thought of that. Longa's board's broken, so unless he borrows a board, he can't face Tadashi. So how's that going to go down? It's a lot of things to think about in this episode. Indeed. Lots of things to think about. There wasn't much to talk about because it's a recap. The moments there. I do feel like Skate, where's some official art of Joe throwing Cherry into the ocean and Jerry painting the words on his shirt? Can we have that? Can we have an official artwork of just 2 official posters? Just give me one of Joe tossing him into the ocean, and give me one of him like soaked doing calligraphy on his shirt. That's all I need. I don't think that's asking for much. But guys, like I said, recap episodes normally aren't my thing because it's like you've already talked about them in the episode and afterwards, so it's like, what else can you add? But this whole deal with Shadow facing Adam has me so curious. I'm like, what are we going to do with that? I don't know. I'm still trying to mull in my head that maybe we do Miya versus Tadashi, and then Adam versus Shadow, and then in the meantime, Longa makes up with Reki, and then we go to Tadashi versus Longa. Like, that would make more sense. But that makes me worried for Shadow. Really worried for Shadow, because we literally just saw Adam smack a guy in the face with a skateboard. And I think that was more to do with Cherry and their history and backstory. I don't think Adam would smack Shadow in the face with a skateboard because they don't have that type of history, but he's still crazy enough to do some weird stuff. So that has me worried. I mean, Shadow, you may have 88 maneuvers, but Adam's unpredictable, and so I'm a little curious about that. But yeah, guys, this episode was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed for being a recap episode. I enjoyed it, but I'm like, okay, I'm ready for episode 10 now. Recap, you've done your job. You've got me all amped up to see Reki and Longa be happy again. Now, give it to me. Do it. I'm like, I need this. So we shall see, I guess. But in the meantime, I hope you all enjoyed this reaction. Please feel free to comment down below. I won't make you wait for the reaction for episode 10. It's coming out very soon. But in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Stay safe, take care, and I'll be back very soon with episode 10 of Skate the Infinity. Bye.